Ellis, you did some draft simulations. Take us through it. Let's start with edge rushers.
Yeah, with what I'm learning at edge rusher is that it's a class that is going to be quite turbulent. When you do these mocks and you simulate them, sometimes you see Kwity Paye or Jalen Phillips be really the only two edge rushers that go before the Browns pick at 26. At times, it's only Jalen Phillips or it's only Paye. And that to me doesn't match up with some stuff I'm seeing from mocks, whether it's Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, Daniel Jeremiah, the guys that call around to these teams and figure out where players are going. They still have, Greg Rousseau, who I wrote about, going in the top 20. So it's a market that I don't think anyone has a good grasp on right now, and that one that will be influenced probably come draft day. Like as soon as two go before 20, like, all right, we're looking at edge rushers flying off this board. If we don't see one go before 20 or only one go before 20, it's going to be a quiet day one for these guys, but then could build in day two because there is intriguing depth. But as I said at the top, there's just no sure home runs at edge rusher. And for it being such a premium position and day one being such premium picks, I think teams are a bit hesitant right now just with so much information being unknown. Like, let's just take the Miami guys, for example, that we talked about Jalen Phillips already. His medicals are a concern. Greg Rousseau, a guy who has been pegged anywhere between top 10, top 20 to out of the first round altogether after his lackish pro day, didn't play in 2020. Again, these are huge question marks for day one capital at such a premium position.
One of the guys that you had going in the first round, now you had Rousseau going to the Browns in the second round. You had Azeez Ojulari going to the Browns in the first round. That's a younger guy. What do you see with him? And take us through some of the things that are attractive about him and some things that are concerns.
Ojulari is a guy I'm really learning to appreciate what he brings as an edge rusher. At first, I wrote him off because I thought he was a little bit too small. But then when you watch him on tape, that 240 6'2" frame looks like it has a lot more mass than either actually shows on the scale or the room to put it on more an upper body, because his base seems so firm to me. And I saw that both in an edge setting way and the way he can defend the run and the way he's able to get into defensive tackles. And then when he does get into the tackle, you see really refined, detailed pass rushing moves, or well, I should say move. It's a three-step move. It's a pin, punch, rip type of thing where he hits you early and then you try to make contact with him and then he knocks your hand off you and then he'll rip through you. So he's winning at the point of attack with a really refined move, which tells me that he can beat you on the outside, that he's capable of learning more moves, and that he also is a fine edge defender. I think he has a Yannick Ngakoue type comp here, who has been tied to the Browns numerous times over this past year, who now is in Oakland, of course, or the Las Vegas Raiders. But he's a player that I think if the Browns have an opportunity to grab him, could very well be the best pure pass rusher in this class. And then I think he does enough in the run game to build off that. And going to a team where he could be the number 2, even number 3 edge rusher, I think would be perfect for him.
What about let's talk about a guy that you have going in the third round of the Browns. That would be Carlos Basham. That's a guy from Wake Forest too. Again, he's one of those guys. You see him some in the first round. You see him some in the third round. If you pay attention to those kind of things.
Yeah. So like Ojulari is a guy who you would just put on the outside and expect him to win. When it comes to Basham, what you see from him is a player capable of playing in a 3-tech. He can play some 5 and he can play out in a wide 9. You really can play him anywhere on one side of the center. And that's because of his just sheer size. At 280, he reminds me of a Malik Jackson, a guy who really made his name winning inside versus smaller guards, but then could move outside when need be and just use that base and that firmness to his game to overpower offensive tackles. Again, it's this volatile edge rushing market. I have no clue where he is going to go. If he is a late day one, early second round guy, would make sense. If he all of a sudden starts falling, I see that too. It is, I think edge rusher, along with Really, I think it's edge rusher. I was going to say receiver, but we know for the most part how these top guys at receiver are going to fall. The depth is what intrigues me. At edge rusher, I don't even know how the top guys are going to fall, and that's what makes it so fascinating.